The betrayal. Commander Marcus Chen watched helplessly as another civilian transport exploded against the backdrop of Delta 7's twin moons. The bridge of the ESS Horizon trembled from the impact of enemy fire, emergency klaxons wailing through the cramped space. Through the viewport, he could see the Kresnak warships forming their attack pattern, their biomechanical hulls pulsing with an eerie green glow. "Commander, we have orders from Earth Central," Lieutenant Sarah Martinez announced, her voice barely audible over the chaos. "All vessels are to maintain position around the mineral extraction facilities on Epsilon 4. Priority Alpha." Marcus turned sharply, his weathered face hardening with disbelief. "What about Colony Theta 9? We have over 2,000 civilians down there, including families." Martinez's expression darkened as she read the rest of the transmission. "Earth Central has deemed Theta 9's population expendable. The titanium reserves on Epsilon 4 take precedence." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He'd served Earth's United Space Force for 20 years, believed in its mission to protect humanity's expansion into the stars. But this wasn't protection. This was abandonment. "Sir, the colony's defense grid just failed," reported Ensign David Wong from the tactical station. "They're requesting immediate evacuation." Marcus stood motionless for a heartbeat, his mind racing. The mineral deposits on Epsilon 4 were valuable, yes, but they were lifeless rocks. Theta 9 held living, breathing humans, families who had trusted Earth's promise of protection. "Navigation. Plot a course for Theta 9, Marcus ordered, his voice steady with resolve. Martinez stepped forward. "Commander, those are direct orders from Admiral Harrison. If we disobey—" "I'm aware of the consequences, Lieutenant." Marcus met her gaze unflinchingly. "But I won't let 2,000 people die for corporate interests. All hands, prepare for emergency jump to Theta 9. We're getting those civilians out." The bridge crew exchanged glances but moved to comply. They had served under Marcus long enough to trust his judgment, even in defiance of command. The Horizon's engines roared to life as they broke formation, accelerating toward the besieged colony. Behind them, angry transmissions from Fleet Command filled the comm channels, but Marcus ordered them muted. As they approached Theta 9, the scale of the attack became horrifyingly clear. Kresnak drop pods rained down on the colony's residential districts, while their fighter craft strafed evacuation points. The colony's meager militia fought bravely but hopelessly against the alien onslaught. "Deploy all shuttles," Marcus commanded. "Wong, target those dropships. Martinez, coordinate with ground forces for evacuation zones." For the next 6 hours, the Horizon fought a desperate battle above Theta 9. Marcus orchestrated the evacuation with surgical precision, using every trick learned in 2 decades of service. The ship's guns blazed continuously, holding back the Kresnak forces while shuttles ferried civilians to safety. By the time the last shuttle docked, the Horizon had taken significant damage. Hull breaches on 3 decks, weapons systems operating at half capacity, and shields failing. But they had saved 1,847 lives. "All civilians aboard, Commander," Martinez reported, exhaustion evident in her voice. "But we have company." 3 Earth warships emerged from hyperspace, weapons locked on the Horizon. "ES Horizon, this is Admiral Harrison aboard the Resolute. Stand down and prepare to be boarded. Commander Chen, you are hereby relieved of command and placed under arrest for insubordination and dereliction of duty." Marcus felt no surprise, only a deep sadness. He had known this moment would come. "Stand down all weapons," he ordered quietly. "Prepare for boarding party." The court-martial was swift and merciless. In the grand chamber of Earth's military tribunal, Marcus stood accused not of saving lives, but of compromising humanity's strategic position. The titanium mines on Epsilon 4 had fallen to the Kresnak, costing Earth billions in resources. "Commander Marcus Chen," Admiral Harrison pronounced from the judge's seat, "you have been found guilty of willful disobedience of direct orders, unauthorized use of military assets, and conduct unbecoming an officer. This court strips you of rank, revokes all military privileges, and sentences you to dishonorable discharge. The gavel fell with finality. Outside the tribunal, protesters both for and against Marcus's actions clashed in the streets. Some called him a hero who embodied humanity's highest values. Others branded him a traitor who had cost Earth vital resources in its war effort. His sister, Dr. Emily Chen, pushed through the crowd to reach him. "Marcus, this isn't right. You saved almost 2,000 people and condemned millions more," he replied bitterly. "At least, that's what they believe." The media painted conflicting pictures. Official channels portrayed him as a rogue officer whose emotional decision-making had weakened Earth's position. Independent journalists told stories of grateful families who owed their lives to his defiance. Within weeks, Marcus found himself blacklisted from every reputable employer on Earth and its colonies. His military pension was revoked, his credentials invalidated. Friends in high places suddenly stopped returning calls. "You could fight this," Emily urged during one of their meetings in a rundown cafe on Luna Station. "Public opinion is divided. Many people support what you did." Marcus shook his head. "The decision's been made. Earth has chosen its priorities, and they don't include me anymore." He eventually found work as a freelance cargo pilot, running supplies to the outer colonies that Earth's major corporations deemed unprofitable. His ship, the Wanderer, was a decrepit freighter held together more by determination than engineering. During long hauls through empty space, Marcus often reflected on his choice. He had saved 1,847 lives. But at what cost? The loss of Epsilon 4's resources had indeed hurt Earth's war effort. More colonies had fallen to the Kresnak in the months since. Yet whenever doubt crept in, he remembered the faces of the children he'd evacuated from Theta 9, their grateful parents. The colony's mayor shaking his hand with tears in her eyes. No strategic calculation could outweigh the value of those lives. 6 months after his discharge, Marcus was making a routine supply run to mining station Omega 12 when his long-range sensors detected something unusual. An energy signature unlike anything in the human database, pulsing rhythmically from an uncharted sector. Probably just a sensor ghost. He muttered to himself, but curiosity got the better of him. He adjusted course to investigate. As the Wanderer approached the coordinates, Marcus's screens lit up with warnings. 3 ships materialized from what seemed like empty space, but these weren't Kresnak vessels. They were elegant, almost crystalline in structure, with geometries that seemed to shift as he watched. Before he could react, his comm system crackled with an incoming transmission. The voice that came through was melodic, almost musical, speaking in a language he'd never heard. Then, impossibly, the words shifted into English. "Human vessel, identify yourself. You have entered Valorian protected space." Marcus hesitated, then responded. "This is the independent freighter Wanderer, Marcus Chen commanding. I mean no intrusion. I was investigating an unusual energy reading." First contact. The crystalline ships maintained their position, as Marcus struggled to process what he'd just heard. His tactical display showed no weapon signatures, but the advanced technology before him suggested these Valorians possessed capabilities far beyond human understanding. "You've been waiting for me?" Marcus asked, his pilot instincts keeping him alert despite his confusion. "Not you specifically, Marcus Chen," the melodic voice replied. "But for a human who understands that some values transcend strategic calculations, your actions at Theta 9 demonstrated this understanding." A beam of soft blue light enveloped the Wanderer. Marcus tensed, but his instruments showed no signs of danger, only a gentle scanning process. "Your vessel is damaged," the voice observed. "Multiple structural weaknesses, failing life support systems. You have perhaps 3 months before catastrophic failure." Marcus couldn't argue. The Wanderer had been living on borrowed time since he'd bought her. "Part of the price of exile," he said quietly. "Exile is often the first step toward destiny," the voice responded. Will you accept our invitation to dock? We have much to discuss. Against every military protocol he'd ever learned, Marcus found himself agreeing. The central Valorian ship opened like a blooming flower, revealing a docking bay that sparkled with inner light. As the Wanderer settled onto the landing platform, Marcus saw his first Valorians. They were tall, averaging 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shimmer between silver and pale blue. Their features were humanoid but elongated, with large eyes that reflected multiple colors. The one who approached his ship wore flowing robes that appeared to be woven from starlight itself. "I am Ambassador Calith of the Valorian Concordat," she said, her physical voice matching the one from the transmission. "Welcome, Marcus Chen." "Thank you," Marcus replied, still processing the surreal situation. "But I have to ask, how do you know about Theta 9? About Earth?" Calith gestured for him to follow. "We have observed your species for some time. The Kresnak incursion into your space was concerning." They walked through corridors that seemed to reshape themselves, the walls flowing like liquid crystal. Other Valorians paused to observe the human in their midst, their expressions curious rather than hostile. "The Kresnak are known to us," Calith continued. "They are a plague upon the galaxy, consuming resources and destroying civilizations. We have fought them for millennia." "Then why haven't you helped Earth?" Marcus asked, unable to keep the bitterness from his voice. Calith led him into a vast chamber where holographic star maps floated in the air. With a gesture, she highlighted Earth's location, a tiny blue dot in a sea of red. "Your species is young, Marcus Chen, proud, divided. We have learned through painful experience that direct intervention often does more harm than good. A species must find its own path to unity." She manipulated the display, showing footage that made Marcus's blood run cold. Earth ships firing on alien vessels that were clearly trying to communicate. Human colonies rejecting peaceful overtures from other species. Time and again, humanity choosing conflict over cooperation. "But individuals," Calith continued, "can sometimes transcend their species' limitations, as you did at Theta 9. Before Marcus could respond, alarms echoed through the chamber. The star map flickered in change, showing multiple hostile contacts approaching. "Kresnak Assault Group," a Valorian officer reported. "They've detected our position." Calith turned to Marcus. "We are escorting a diplomatic vessel carrying crucial peace negotiations. If it falls, 3 systems will descend into war. Our escort ships are damaged from a previous engagement." Marcus studied the tactical display, his military training kicking in automatically. The Kresnak were using a classic pincer movement, but with a subtle variation he'd seen before. "They're feinting," he said suddenly. "The main attack will come from below, using the gas giant's magnetic field to mask their approach." The Valorian officers looked skeptical, but Calith nodded. "You have command experience. What would you recommend?" For a moment, Marcus hesitated. This wasn't his fight. These weren't his people. But then he thought of the 3 systems that would suffer if this mission failed, of countless families like those on Theta 9. "Reposition your ships here and here," he said, indicating points on the display. "Use the diplomatic vessel as bait. They won't risk destroying it immediately. When they commit to the attack from below, hit them with everything you have." The battle unfolded exactly as Marcus had predicted. The Kresnak fell into the trap, their ships caught in a devastating crossfire. Within minutes, the assault group was either destroyed or fleeing. The chamber fell silent as the Valorians stared at Marcus with newfound respect. "Remarkable," Calith said softly. "Your tactical intuition is extraordinary." "Just experience," Marcus deflected, "and maybe a bit of luck." "There is no luck in war," another voice interjected. A taller Valorian entered, wearing what appeared to be military insignia. "Only skill and wisdom. I am Supreme Commander Xerion." That maneuver saved thousands of lives. Xerion studied Marcus intensely. Ambassador Calith spoke of human potential. "I see now what she meant. Over the next several hours, Marcus learned the true scope of the galactic situation. The Kresnak were merely one threat among many. Ancient empires were crumbling, new powers rising, and the delicate balance that had maintained relative peace for eons was failing. The Valorian Concordat stands as one of the last bastions of order, Xerion explained. But we are stretched thin. We need new perspectives, new strategies. What are you saying? Marcus asked, though he suspected he knew. Join us, Caleth said simply, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Train at our military academy. Learn our ways as we learn yours. Help us save not just your species, but countless others. Marcus thought of Earth, of the tribunal that had condemned him, of the cold efficiency that valued resources over lives. Then he thought of Theta 9, of the families he'd saved, of the principles he'd sacrificed everything to uphold. Earth won't approve, he said finally. They'll brand me a traitor for certain. Earth forgets that humanity's destiny lies among the stars, not hidden behind planetary defenses. Xerion replied. You understand this. That is why you could not abandon those civilians. Marcus looked out at the stars through the chamber's transparent walls. Somewhere out there, the Wanderer sat in the docking bay, his last connection to a home that no longer wanted him. If I do this, he said slowly, it won't be for glory or revenge. It'll be to protect those who can't protect themselves. To prove that humanity is capable of more than Earth's current leadership believes. Caleth smiled, the expression surprisingly human. That is precisely why we chose to reveal ourselves to you. The next morning, or what passed for morning aboard the Valorian ship, Marcus sent a final message to his sister. He couldn't reveal everything, but he wanted her to know he was safe and had found a new purpose. As he prepared to depart for the Valorian Military Academy, leaving the Wanderer behind, Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced since his court-martial. Hope. Earth had forsaken him for choosing compassion over calculation, but in doing so, they had inadvertently pushed him toward a greater destiny. Rising star. The Valorian Military Academy floated in the corona of a binary star system, its crystalline spires defying conventional architecture. Marcus stood before its grand entrance, wearing the cadet uniform provided to him, a form-fitting suit that adjusted to his movements like a second skin. The first human to walk these halls, Commander Xerion noted as he escorted Marcus inside. You will face skepticism, even hostility. Many species here have suffered from humanity's aggressive expansion. Marcus nodded grimly. I'm used to being judged by my species' worst actions. The Academy's training halls buzzed with activity. Beings from dozens of species sparred, studied, and strategized together. Many paused to stare at the human among them, their expressions ranging from curiosity to open distrust. His first challenge came quickly. During tactical simulations, Marcus found himself repeatedly paired against Zareth, a draconian warrior whose people had clashed with human forces in the Outer Rim conflicts. Let's see if the hero of Theta 9 can match draconian strategy, Zareth hissed during their first encounter. The simulation began, a planetary evacuation under enemy bombardment. Zareth commanded the attacking force while Marcus led the defense. Most cadets would have focused on military assets, but Marcus immediately diverted resources to civilian protection. Predictable human sentiment. Zareth sneered, pressing his advantage. But Marcus had learned from Theta 9. He used the civilian ships as sensor decoys, masking his true military movements. When Zareth committed to what he thought was the main defensive force, Marcus's hidden reserves struck from 3 directions simultaneously. The simulation ended with Zareth's forces in complete disarray and 0 civilian casualties. Impossible, the Draconian muttered, studying the replay. Not impossible, Marcus replied calmly. Just human. We're unpredictable when protecting innocence. Word of his victory spread quickly. More challenges followed, each testing different aspects of military command. Marcus's unconventional tactics, blending Earth military doctrine with an unwavering focus on minimizing casualties, proved devastatingly effective. 6 months into his training, crisis struck. A massive Kresnak fleet appeared in the Nexus system, home to 12 inhabited worlds and billions of lives. The Valorian Defense Force was scattered, responding to simultaneous attacks across the quadrant. Supreme Commander Xerion burst into the Academy's Strategic Command Center, where Marcus was conducting advanced simulations. Cadet Chen, we have an emergency. The Nexus system is under massive assault. Our main fleet is 3 days away. The local defenses have 8 hours before they're overwhelmed. Marcus studied the tactical display, his mind racing. You need me to buy time. I need a miracle, Xerion admitted. The Academy training fleet is all we have in range. 60 ships, mostly outdated, with cadets for crews. The other instructors protested immediately. Supreme Commander, we cannot send students into actual combat. The alternative is watching 12 worlds burn, Xerion replied coldly. He turned to Marcus. I'm offering you field promotion to fleet captain. Will you lead them? Marcus felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders once more. This time, however, he wasn't defying orders. He was being asked to do the impossible. I'll need full tactical authority, he said, and volunteers only. No one should be forced into this. The call went out across the Academy. To Marcus's surprise, hundreds of cadets volunteered, including Zareth and others who had initially viewed him with suspicion. You showed us that victory doesn't require sacrificing principles, Zareth explained. Now let us show the Kresnak what united species can achieve. As the training fleet raced toward the Nexus system, Marcus worked tirelessly to prepare his inexperienced crews. He divided the outdated ships into wolf packs, each with specific roles that maximized their limited capabilities. They arrived to find the situation worse than reported. 300 Kresnak vessels surrounded the system, methodically destroying orbital defenses. The local commander had already begun evacuating government officials, abandoning millions of civilians. This is Fleet Captain Chen. To all Nexus forces, Marcus broadcast. Evacuation priorities are hereby reversed. Civilians first. All ships will coordinate through my command. Protests erupted from the local military channels, but Marcus cut them off. You can court-martial me later. Right now, we save lives. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for generations. Marcus orchestrated a dance of deception and misdirection, using the training fleet's very obsolescence as an advantage. The Kresnak, expecting modern tactics, fell repeatedly for classic maneuvers they considered beneath them. He positioned ships to look damaged, luring Kresnak forces into ambushes. He used civilian evacuation routes as cover for attack runs. Most brilliantly, he reprogrammed training drones to emit the signatures of capital ships, creating a phantom fleet that drew off a third of the enemy forces. For 16 hours, the training fleet held the line. They took horrendous casualties. 23 ships lost, hundreds of cadets killed. But they bought enough time for 90% of the civilian population to escape. When the Valorian main fleet finally arrived, they found the surviving cadet ships still fighting, still protecting the evacuation corridors. The fresh forces swept through the exhausted Kresnak, driving them from the system. In the aftermath, as medical ships collected survivors and damage reports flooded in, Marcus stood on the bridge of his battered flagship. Zareth approached, his arm in a medical sling. The instructors are calling it the miracle of Nexus, the Draconian said. But it wasn't a miracle, was it? It was human stubbornness combined with galactic unity. Before Marcus could respond, a priority transmission arrived. Supreme Commander Xerion's image appeared, flanked by the Valorian High Council. Fleet Captain Chen. Xerion began formally. Your actions have saved billions of lives and proven the potential of interspecies cooperation. By unanimous decision of the High Council, you are hereby promoted to the rank of Supreme Fleet Commander of the Valorian Allied Forces. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Marcus felt only the heavy responsibility of his new position. He was no longer just representing humanity. He was commanding a coalition of species in their fight for survival. Months later, after driving the Kresnak from 3 more systems and establishing new defensive doctrines that revolutionized Valorian military strategy, Marcus received an unexpected message. It was from Earth. Commander Chen, the transmission read, bearing the seal of United Earth Government. In light of your achievements with the Valorian Concordat, we hereby reinstate your rank and offer you the position of ambassador to the galactic community. Humanity needs you to come home. Marcus read the message twice, feeling the bitter irony. They wanted him back now that he had proven valuable to their interests. He drafted his response carefully. Earth Government, I appreciate your offer, but must decline. My duty is to all sentient beings now, not just humanity. However, I extend an invitation. Join the Valorian Concordat as equal partners. Help us build a galaxy where no commander must choose between orders and conscience, where no life is deemed expendable. The humans who forsook me taught me something valuable. That principles matter more than politics, that lives matter more than resources. The aliens who named me commander showed me that humanity's potential is limitless when we embrace our better nature. I am no longer Earth's soldier. I am the guardian of all who cannot protect themselves. If humanity wishes to join this cause, I will welcome you as brothers and sisters. But I will not return to a system that values strategic advantage over innocent lives. The stars await our better selves. Supreme Fleet Commander Marcus Chen, Valorian Allied Forces. As he sent the message, Marcus looked out at the stars he now called home. Earth had exiled him for saving 2,000 lives. In response, the galaxy had given him the power to save billions. He had been forsaken by humanity, but in losing his world, he had gained a universe.